They shoved her hard enough that her books scattered across the concrete and the breath burst out of her chest. Cadet Mira Solen didn't look up at first. She simply knelt, gathering her notebooks with trembling hands, while the 5 upper-year soldiers stood over her, smirking. To them, she was nothing, a quiet, freshwoman cadet. Too soft-spoken, too small, too gentle for a military academy that ran on steel and swagger. What they didn't know was that the girl they pushed had already survived training that would have crushed half the platoon. What they didn't know was that Mira Solen was a world-class combat master of truth she had spent years hiding. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're rewatching from. I love knowing who's listening. Mira rose slowly, brushing dust from her knees. She felt the sting of humiliation, but deeper still was a familiar ache, the ache of restraint. She had come here to start over, to be normal for once, to be just another young woman trying to earn a uniform. Not a prodigy, not a weapon, certainly not the legend her old instructors whispered about. But the tallest soldier, Rig, stepped closer, blocking the sun. "Look at her," he scoffed. "Too scared to speak, she won't last a week." The others laughed short, sharp bursts echoing off the stone walls. Mira's heart thudded painfully, not from fear, but from the moral tug-of-war inside her. Endure this to keep her secret, or end it and risk everything. She took a slow breath, tasting the dusty air, hearing a distant flagpole clink in the wind. She could feel eyes watching cadets pretending not to stare, but unable to look away. Rig nudged her shoulder again, harder this time. "Say something freshy." Mira did speak, but only inside her mind. "If I say anything, I'll be someone I don't want to be again." She bent to retrieve the last notebook, but her fingers were trembling now. Not in fear, but in the tense battle to keep her composure from cracking. She remembered her mentor's voice. "Strength isn't what you show, it's what you hold back." She thought she'd never hear that voice again. She was wrong. A sharp whistle cut across the courtyard. Lieutenant Arden stepped out from the training hall, eyes locked on the unfolding scene. His steps were calm, but the air seemed to shift around him. Cadets straightened. Whispers rippled like wind through tall grass. "What's going on here?" His tone was deceptively light. Rig shrugged. "Just teaching the newbie some respect." Arden's gaze drifted to Mira. He noticed her shaking hands. The scuff on her elbow, the quiet pain in her eyes. Something in him tightened. Then, for a brief second, Mira looked up, meeting his stare with a depth he didn't expect. Like she could read him, like she already knew the decision forming in his mind. Arden nodded toward the training ring. "If you're teaching lessons, then let's make it official. Rig, you and your squad. And Cadet Mira Solen." The courtyard stilled. Someone gasped. Someone else whispered, "She get crushed." Rig grinned. "Gladly, sir." Mira's throat tightened. This was the moment she had avoided for years. The moment the truth would no longer stay buried, they entered the ring. The sun glared down, warming the sand beneath her boots. Rig cracked his knuckles. The others spread out, circling her slowly, like wolves sizing up prey. Dust swirled. A single leaf drifted through the air, catching glints of sunlight. Time seemed to stretch. Arden lifted his hand. "Begin." Rig lunged first. But he never touched her. Mira moved with a calm so sharp it stole the breath from every throat outside the ring. She sidestepped, caught his wrist lightly as if guiding a friend through a doorway, and pivoted. His momentum folded under her control, sending him stumbling into the sand with a thud. The courtyard exploded with murmurs. The second attacker rushed her from behind, boots pounding. Mira dropped low. His arm swept over her head, missing by inches. She caught his elbow mid-strike and redirected it with surgical precision. He crumpled, groaning, clutching his shoulder. The third tried brute force. The fourth tried speed. The fifth tried desperation. None of them came close. They moved like a tide. She moved like the moon, quiet, steady, controlling every pull of the current. Her breath stayed even. Her expression never shifted. She flowed between them with the elegance of someone who understood violence intimately, yet despised it deeply. The courtyard fell silent, so silent that every breath sounded loud, every heartbeat thundered. Even the flags stopped fluttering, as if witnessing something sacred. Rig staggered back to his feet, face red with fury and humiliation. "Who are you?" Mira lowered her hands. "Just a cadet," she said softly. But everyone heard the truth beneath it. Someone far more than that. Rig swung at her recklessly, a punch built from pride, not technique. Mira stepped in, stopped his wrist with a single palm, and locked his arm gently but firmly. He fell to his knees, defeated not by pain, but by the realization that he had never stood a chance. Arden raised his hand. Enough. The courtyard remained frozen as Mira released Rig and stepped back. Her chest rose and fell. Her eyes glimmered with a quiet sadness because exposing her skill meant losing the anonymity she had hoped for. Arden approached slowly. His voice lowered to a warm, steady murmur. "Cadet Solen, how long have you been hiding this?" She looked away. Long enough. He studied her for a moment, and something soft broke through his sternness. "You don't have to hide anymore." A wave of applause swept through the courtyard, tentative at first, then swelling into something that felt like vindication. Even the cadets who had doubted her moments before now watched with awe. Rig bowed his head. "I'm sorry," he muttered. Mira didn't smile, but she nodded. Forgiveness, she believed, wasn't weakness. It was freedom. And freedom was something she finally felt again, because strength isn't loud. It's quiet, it's patient, and when needed it rises. Because kindness doesn't vanish, it waits and it finds its way back. And somewhere in that courtyard, where dust hung glowing in the sunlight, and a young woman breathed without fear for the first time in years, the truth she had spent so long hiding finally felt at peace. Thank you for listening to this story. If it moved you, let me know in the comments and tell me where you're watching from. And if you want more powerful stories like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join the Whispered Words family. Your next favorite story is waiting. Tap that subscribe button.